Hey guys, this is Faz Radio episode 9. I'm Faz and I'm here with Mal from the CryptoFaz Academy Discord to talk to Crypto Dude of NFT Comics. So let's get into it.
Yeah, well, I want you to take me right back, dude. Before NFT Comics, I want to know all about you.
Okay. Well, before NFT Comics, I was a college student. Technically, I still am. I'm yet to get my degree, so that's where I was. And I've been in blockchain and crypto since a couple of years. So it's all about me and my friends who are always studying about it, learning about it, being all geeky and nerdy, noticing trends, noticing new projects that came up, and reading their white papers and things like that. And fortunately, so if you're Indian, you probably get this. Uh, the way we see it is that we kind of woke up a little late to the whole crypto boom. So when NFTs came in, we realized that okay, fine, this is our chance. Like this is something that we are at the sunrise of. So let's see what this is about and let's try and get involved. And it's really really fun because from the very get go, I started noticing how much can be done with these and how much potential these things have. And it was only a matter of time until we started our own project. Somehow I was never able to get the time. But then fortunately for me, I met Chris, who was too good a talent to give up on in terms of not doing a project together. And so we just committed to it, set some time apart. Fortunately, I got a very good job offer on my college. So I was free from college pressures and all those kind of things. And so we got down, doubled up, and kicked it off.
You in college right now, or you said you're not
Well,
in college anymore?
I'm done with college from my end. When they give me the degree, then we'll call it a day. I mean, I still I'm not gonna say I've graduated college until they give me the degree.
And what degree is it? Why don't you tell us like, what you're studying and what that's for?
It's electronic engineering.
Well, not bad.
Oh, wow.
That's quite a. So you think you're actually going to get to do this degree, or do you think NFT Comics is going to take?
I've completed the degree. So I've completed my 4 years, given all my exams, gotten my grades. I'm just waiting for the degree to reach my house.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you've already gotten it. Okay. Do you think you're going to be able to work in this degree? If do you think NFT Comics will take over and you'll just be an engineer in education only?
Well, I really hope so. But to be fair, I have a lot of help. Like so many people and so many juniors are coming up to me and saying that they want to be involved. They want to try out a project firsthand and see what can happen and try out some of their own ideas. And a lot of these ideas are things that even I hadn't thought of. So I'm more than happy to give young people a chance and say, okay, we've erected this monument for you. Now give it a shot, try what you want, and we're there to guide you as you go along. So that's probably where to go.
Do you have a lot of people working with you, like coming up with stories and animating things?
No, we let Chris do that. So Chris is our juggernaut artist, and you'll be surprised at how much work that one guy can get done. And his turnaround time is insane. Like there have been days when we're talking about an idea in the morning, and he's like, "Okay, cool. Let me just sketch something up so I can show you what I'm thinking." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. I'll go have lunch." And I go eat, come back, and he's got a sketch. And by the end of the day, we've got this really good quality comic. I'm like, "Okay, fine. We're ready to go." He's like, "No, wait. Let me perfect it a little bit more." And in a matter of days, that guy can make really quality content.
Yeah, I'm always so impressed with what he does. It's just he brings them to life really well. I don't even know how he draws them or animates them so well. Do you know anything about his animation? What he uses, how it works?
I know a little bit. So I know that he sketches them first, and I've been with him through some of the sketch cycles. So I think the whole thing comes down to looping, and that's something that he's very pro at. So the whole thing comes down to transitioning between the sketches and smoothing out the rough edges. And there have been days when, like, there are so many days when if Chris is not happy with it, it just doesn't go through. Like he's absolutely fine with like destroying it and starting from scratch, just to make sure what he has envisioned is what the final product is. So got a handed to him. Like he's really committed.
That shows he knows what he's doing, because a lot of people when you don't know what you're doing, you barely get something together and you're like, okay, I got it, let's not touch it. But the fact that he could throw it away and redraw it, he knows exactly what he's doing and he's very comfortable. That's what it sounds like.
It is, yeah. He knows exactly what he's doing. You're right on. I couldn't have put it better myself. In addition to that, he has a very clear picture of what he wants it to look like, which is something that I always keep him. That's a very rare talent, right? Like he can see the comic before I can, which is fantastic.
Well, I see that the comics actually have a certain they have a certain pattern to them. It's hard to explain. I would call it almost a timing pattern. It's not like you'd see with like The Simpsons or with something like that. It's just the way that things move. I see a certain timing, which it seems to be that's the unique thing that I've noticed.
Yeah, that's a brilliant observation. It was, in fact, our initial idea that we would try to keep it as updated with news and as relevant to what's going on currently as possible, because it makes so much sense from a futuristic point of view. Like if you've seen the comic he made about Dogecoin, we did it the same weekend that Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live, and maybe a few years into the future, somebody's going to see that comic and it's really going to connect them to what happened this time. So that's our intention.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's one of the reasons I absolutely treasure NFT Comics, is because of what the point that they're making. It's usually very relevant to something that's happened that people in this space are very aware of. Like I love Alt Season City. We were speaking about it before you joined. You know, I won that NFT from you when I'd first joined your Discord. I was over the moon. But it's just because of what it represents. It was Alt Season City and everything was pumping.
Yeah, there's actually a cool story behind All Season City. So the people from our Discord server actually voted which tokens get into that train. So we just said that we're doing an All Season City and there are 5 wagons and Bitcoin is in the first one. And now you guys get to vote what the next 4 should be. And if they get enough support, then we'll confirm it. If not, we'll think about it, whether we want to put it or not. And if you go to see, it's quite unique because that one has Link as a square, and this was also suggested by someone saying that you've got so many coins, let's put a square in there. So I guess getting the community involved is something that has benefited the project very, very much, because there's only so many ideas and so many angles that 2 people can look at it from. But when you have a whole herd of people getting involved, giving suggestions and things like that, there's just no limit to what you can create.
Absolutely, and the XRP character with the balaclava, it just has me in tears every time. It's just so well drawn, XRP. Like each coin, you can look at it and sort of that you feel like that is exactly what it would look like if it was a real thing. He just does it so well.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh yeah, he has an additional talent too. So not many people know this, but the expressions that the tokens make, that's all Chris. Like when we decide what the comics are doing or what the tokens are going to be doing in this comic, we only decide the story and how it's going. And the expressions that he gives those characters, it's just insane.
Well, on the Tron, the fees, that's what that one's probably made me laugh the hardest of them all, and it's because of the eyes, like the way they dart around when it breaks through the wall. Like it's amazing, honestly. Have you seen that one, Faz? If you haven't, I'll have to link it after this. It's so funny.
We need to put some links in the video description below to show people where these things are, because they're
yes, absolutely, we should.
And eventually I want to be able to perhaps get out of the podcast format and maybe we can start showing some pictures and stuff. That takes a little bit more prep, and we're barely getting things together as it is. So right now we're just talking to people, finding out what we want to know from you guys. We can't normally just call people up and just talk with them on the phone. But people seem to be a lot better with the idea when you want to interview them. Funny.
But I want to know about what you feel about the NFTs in this space, especially art, because me and you've spoke plenty, dude, and they're just not very high quality NFTs out there. That's why I love your project so much, because they're just what I would say is some of the highest standard of art NFTs on the blockchain right now.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, another cool story is that have you seen CryptoBan? It's about this guy building a wall and then Bitcoin comes and smashes it over.
Yeah, I own it.
So that was created at around the time when there was a lot of uncertainty whether India would be okay with it or not. So that was just a really cool NFT for me, and we said that we have to do this.
So
yeah, sorry, Faz.
Oh, no problem. So is Bitcoin banned this week in India, or is it not banned again?
We don't know for sure, but as of now, it's not.
Okay. because
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to ask. Like, what's
I
going
hear
on
things
over
like
there?
they're like saying, okay, you can't do it anymore. It's against the law. And then they're like, oh, but wait, banks can do it. Oh, but wait, no, well, you can't do this. Oh, but these people can.
Yeah. In any case, I think NFTs are safe.
Yeah, they're not the same. See, I've always wondered how it'll be in the future with people trying to, sell high price NFTs that are obviously not worth that as a way of moving money around. I've always wondered how the government might view NFTs in that sense.
I think.
But
Oh, sorry about that.
sure, I was going to say, I think if you could do that in real life, I could just draw a painting and try and pretend I've convinced you to buy it for, $500,000 when really it'd just be. But that's how my worry around NFTs with the government is they're going to eventually maybe try and want like receipts almost if you're dealing in NFTs, the same way they would like a real physical product that you'd sold. Obviously, it's on the blockchain and it's public, but as far as I've understood, like nodes, there's no that's not a receipt to the US government. Like the fact that it's on the blockchain as proof doesn't class as a receipt.
Really?
So yeah, so you can do your taxes and stuff, but when it comes to trying to say like, oh, I bought this for that, and it's not good enough, basically.
Yeah. So, I heard a better classifications of what NFTs are now. In the past, people would say, well, an NFT is the official copy of something. And then later I read somewhere that NFTs are more like an autographed copy. And I would have to say that, really. If I got an NFT from my favorite celebrity that they issued, I would have to say that's more of an autographed copy than an official one, because there is no original when you're dealing with digital work, or at least originals aren't stamped as originals. You could stamp them, but people generally don't do that. So there is no real original with digital stuff, since you can make exact copies of things. So, if it's a signed copy, it's still just a copy. I mean, you can get a photograph from Mr. Spock, the guy who plays Mr. Spock, who's dead now, unfortunately. But, if he signs it, it doesn't matter when it was made, or if in fact it was a common photograph. He signed it.
Yeah.
So that's a technical cryptographic signature. So there you go. It's a signed copy.
I agree.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, the way I look at NFTs is that they're absolute digital originals in the sense that I could probably paint a Picasso today, but that wouldn't be a Picasso because he hasn't made it, and therefore it's not like everything else that he has made. But yeah, this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so that's how I see it. Say if NFT Comics is the clear one who minted it, it doesn't even matter if one of the comics was leaked before it was NFT'd, and then someone else tried to do it first. Everyone would know that it's the one that came from your project that matters. I think that's part of the autograph aspect of it, as Faz was saying. Really, like you want the one that NFT Comics made, not the one that someone just randomly did that was identical.
Yeah, exactly.
And to bring onto that, is there any more collabs coming? I'd love to know if you've got anything brewing.
We've got a lot of things brewing. So there is just so many ideas that are simultaneously converging. Recently, Chris has been a little occupied with the clumsy coins that he's doing with Degacha. That's another really cool project coming up. And I was a little occupied with this new role that I've been working on. But what we have coming up for us is that we'll be doing a lot more collaborations, and we're finally going to do what we wanted to from the start, because we feel that our community has been grown quite a bit, and that is having one comic across 5 NFTs. So when we started NFT Comics, what we really wanted to do was to have a comic that starts out and you don't know where it's going, because the future hasn't really happened yet. So let's say we decide that we are following the journey of, let's say, XRP with the SEC, or let's say Dogecoin with how Elon Musk is going along with it, or with Bitcoin reaching this position of fear and uncertainty that it is at now, right? So you can actually start a story out and follow it as it goes along, and keep minting comics as we go. And that's one of the things that we've always wanted to do, and we will do it finally. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah. In addition to this, here's a very nice place to announce it, but we're working on NFT Comics appreciation token. So the way that would work is that we're going to mint an NFT and send it to every wallet address that has owned an NFT comic. Just because
neat.
we hit a lot of milestones along the way, and also because we figured out how to mint on Polygon, so we can actually do that now. So there's that. There's some thought going into whether we should go into a governance token and create it. I don't really think that's necessary just yet, but that's definitely something in the works. And yeah, it's funny you should ask, Mal, but this is really interesting. So what we want to do is that there are a few community members very, very valuable and that have supported us a lot, like Purple Lioness, Marbles85, and Mull. Even in terms of both, in terms of purchasing and also in terms of community interaction and the rank that they have on our server and the level that they've achieved in terms of how much they've interacted. And what we're going to do is that for such community members, we're going to start incorporating them as characters and then looking for ways to have them in our comics.
Well, hey, I want a character.
Amazing. That is amazing.
I want a Faz character. Hey, does this podcast count?
We'll have to see about that. But I know for sure Mull is in the works because he's on level 15 on our Discord server, which is pretty high. And is head and shoulders above the others. So he's a clear favorite in that category. And even Marbles85 and Marbles85 and Purple Lioness, they're going to get their 5th bonus NFT. So that's what we're going to use to determine how many of those you have. So fast, just to fill you in, the way we do it is that in every series, there are 5 NFTs. And anyone who collects all 5 gets a bonus NFT. And these bonus NFTs are really, really rare. If I'm not mistaken, there are around 20 in circulation in total. So definitely anyone who has a lot of these has clearly supported the project very, very much. And this is how we will try to reward. So definitely, if we have to include them as a character somewhere or the other, Chris and I need to start designing it. And that's one more thing that we're going to set about going. And we have a community call tomorrow to discuss that based on the community's feedback and suggestion, which of these ideas we should implement first. Because we definitely have a lot of ideas in the works, and I'm hoping that the community themselves have other ideas or other observations they've made in projects that they would like us to implement, and we'll be more than happy to do it.
That's a really cool idea. That's awesome. You know, I actually have some cartoon characters myself, but you guys are much further down the development level of me. I'm just making little NFTs of just, you know, pictures of these guys. But one day I hope to get either some small animations going or little stories, or I have some other ideas, which I don't want to tell anybody about. And now you better not tell them about it either. But I have some ideas of some NFT projects that I can do with them. So yeah, this all sounds really cool.
Fantastic. Maybe we can collaborate someday.
You'll have to tell me or teach me how to collaborate. You guys are obviously a lot further down the professional path than I am.
For sure, man. For sure.
They are an amazing pair. I absolutely loved doing the Gala series with them. It was so funny, and Chris really brought the ideas to life. And another thing I just want to say on the show as well, that there's the subscription packs when you buy from NFT Comics, if you want to explain that.
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I didn't explain that. So the way we do it is that we realize that sometimes it can be a little hard for people to keep up to when the comics are releasing. And sometimes they get sold out really quickly. But more importantly, formerly, because of gas prices, sometimes we used to not necessarily mint on Monday the way we are supposed to. So even though we had the NFT ready, it was just too expensive to mint. So the timing used to get pushed around a little bit. So in order to hedge people against that, and in order to prevent the expense of buying it every time, we came up with subscription packs where you can buy an entire series from the get-go. And so before we start a series, we create the subscription pack and let people buy all 5 of it, as well as the bonus comic that comes at the end.
I might be interested in that. I have a request, just because I've seen this meme everywhere, and I'm really bummed that it doesn't have the Gala coin in it. But do you know the meme where they show the little Bitcoin on the roller coaster going down or going up, and his hands are flapping in the air? Have you seen that one before? I see it for every coin, but except for Gala, and I don't know. My request is if you guys ever have time, if you could do that for Gala, but you'd probably want to distribute it as it's just a meme that everybody can use rather than as an NFT.
Yeah, or we can just have it as a Gala appreciation token. We've had a lot of
There you go.
support from the Gala community, and these guys have been like phenomenal. Especially since both Chris and I knew very very little about it, and when the Gala series was happening, we had to actually go and see the whatever videos or gameplay we could find about these games like Miranda's and pretty much Miranda's. I couldn't find for the others, but uh, to see what it would look like, and then try and fashion our comics in the same way. And Bitbender has been really really helpful from the very beginning. So definitely something.
Yeah, the Gala staff, as I know, were quite impressed. I'd seen a few of them making comments about like how the Town Star one was amazing. Obviously, Gala sells a Citadel, the fortified one. I know what the bonus one looks like. And, that'll probably be out by the time this is all edited and stuff.
Yeah,
so
sure.
so they were very impressed. I know that. I know Jason really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people on commented on the Town Star that this is exactly how it is.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree on that one. So I know you've done the F-Man collab as well. I think it was a Chili's one.
Yep. So ETHMan was actually very interesting. So that's a project that's very close to my heart because I was with the ETHMan boys when ETHMan pretty much began. And so the moment my own project began, I think the founder of ETHMan, close friend of mine, Zeeg, he was one of the first 5 or 10 people I invited into the server. And from that moment, we knew that there's definitely going to be an ETHMan collab somewhere. It was just a matter of when. And it finally happened, and it was fantastic. I think when that happened, we were on the 5th or 6th highest sellers on Rarible worldwide, which was a huge high for us. And the community response was just overwhelming. Like so many NFTs. I think we sold around 200 NFTs that day, which was nuts. And we had, I mean, we from our side, we went above and beyond to make sure it was a success. I think Chris worked 2 weeks relentlessly for that. And when I say Chris worked 2 weeks, I mean, we're talking about a guy who can make a comic in a day. So 2 weeks of work, and it really shows. So yeah, that was another one of our best collabs. And hopefully we can just do more like those. It was just something else.
Is Chris in the United States or is he in India as well?
No, Chris is in Europe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we make the timing work. My sleep schedule is very random. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm always speaking to it like it's like 4 or 5 in the morning your time, but it's so early for me. I'm like, Jesus. But the ETHMan, I mean, again, it was like, what was it, like a couple of minutes long, the comic as well?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
It was, oh my God, the detail, it was like you were watching a professional like cartoon on TV. That's how I felt, like the skill level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it was just Chris just banging that out on his own. Like, what? So you wouldn't until like someone told you, because it was that good.
And Chris has been doing drawings and animation since he's in school, so he has decades of experience.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you knew how long Chris had drawn and anything that he sort of likes to tell you about.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it for a very, very long time, and he's very clear about what he likes to make. So, he just tells me that I was looping it and the animation didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So we're back to square one. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought we're almost done. He's like, no, we're doing it again. So yeah.
Yeah, because I obviously we had to work together for the Gala collab, and you can definitely see how much of a picky artist he is. But that's a positive thing, I think, when you're producing something of high quality. Yeah. So he definitely knows what he wants, and although sometimes it was a nightmare to try and get the right comic idea, and it was definitely worth it because amazing as everything he does.
Yeah, in fact, coming on to that, huge props to Mal. So this is a story for a lot of people to know, and it's a very good one at that. So Mal was in our community, and he's a very very active member in the Gala Comics Discord as well. So he told us that you guys should definitely work something out with Gala. Unfortunately, I knew Bitbender from before, but it was really pretty much it all came down to Mal. Like he went over there, spoke to their admin, spoke to Bitbender, showed him some of our stuff, and said that this is what we want to do, and we should do a collaboration with you guys. And those guys were on board, so I spoke to them. Everything worked out fine, and then Mal pretty much, you know, oversaw the entire operations of it, down from when we would release, down from making sure everyone's retweeting at the same time, people are sharing what we've done, giving us updates from there, making sure people on the Gala Discord knew, because apparently not too many of them use Twitter, helping ease out the whole Rarible checkout system, because again, Gala guys use OpenSea more, is what I understood. And even like he is still part of it, but he's been part of it since like every stage, from the ideation to the execution to the rollout. It's such a fortunate thing for us to have someone in our community that can say that, hey, you know what, I really like your project and I really like that other project as well, and since I'm so close to both the founders, I'm going to make sure that I take charge of this collab and make it happen. And I don't think everyone has a story like that, so that's really, like, hats off to you, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and I absolutely loved it. You're both amazing people. That's why I was so happy when we could get you on the show as well, because I am a massive fan of the project, as you know. So, thank you. But where do you see the project in 1 to 3 years? Is where I want to. Where do you picture NFT Comics?
Well, to be fair, I picture it expanding into a lot of other horizons, in the sense that right now it's only about NFTs and it's only about comics, and we can definitely do so much more. So as time goes by, we'd start a YouTube channel, we'll start other things that we can do. We've already gotten into this thing. We can create shorties and things like that. And on my own end, I've been learning a lot I've been learning a lot about solidarity development and what all can be done using blockchain technology. So that's another thing that as a project we will be, taking charge of, because up until this point it's only been about using the existing technology to put your content onto the blockchain. But as time goes by, it's going to become partly that, but mostly, generating your own blockchain backed comics, which is something that's in a class of its own. Like, we can have so much, we can have on-chain gamification and randomness and all the other things that you see now that are happening on our Discord server. We can actually have these things happening on chain, and we're taking steps to ensure that we can do that in whatever limited capacity our abilities are as of now. But we that's in another 1 to 3 years, definitely we can get there.
Yeah, because I mean, you're on the Matic chain now. There's the Doki Doki's moved over there, which, if you want to tell the viewers about that as well, that's another.
What?
Yeah, I'll let Crypto
Yeah.
Dude explain that one.
So we have this other project. It's called Clumsy Coins, where Crypto Chris totally manages that. So what he does is he makes short NFTs, like short videos, and some proper comics, and there are a few cards as well. And there's this project called Doki Doki. It's called Degacha. It's by this company called Doki Doki. And what they essentially have is a slot machine like thing where you spin it, and it's a fixed price to spin it. But you could randomly get any NFT from there, and the NFTs are of different rarities. So I'm not sure if I'm sounding too confusing, but there are some that are like, there are hundreds of them, there are some that there are dozens of them, and there are some that there are very few of them. And you're paying for a spin, so you could just land up with anything. And that's another project that we have going on. And this is on Matic. So interesting.
I really enjoyed them. I've got loads of the Japanese ones. I was trying to get the one where it goes to the moon, but I couldn't. That was the rarest one in there. I've spun it so many times. Sorry, Faz, go on.
No, that's okay. I was starting to change the subject there, and I keep going.
I was just going to say it's nice that it adds the rarity. As someone might keep spinning, like, it could be loads of people spinning to get the rare ones. And once the rare ones are out, then they're out, kind of thing. But they were really hard to get, which I liked. It wasn't just, it had a good algorithm, I think, for spitting them out, and that adds to the collector side, because they're again amazing quality NFTs.
Yeah.
I'm going to need links for all these things that you guys are talking about here. So please send me some DMs.
We have a channel on our Discord server specifically called Useful Links. That's literally where you find every link.
You can find that fast after this.
Yeah,
all right,
that's all it is. Like, it's just links, nothing else.
I'll
No
go
one
in
can
there and
comment or write in there.
I'll go in there and grab links and put them in the video.
Yeah, sure. And you can just ask me for any of them. I'll send them to you.
So, you obviously, crypto art is basically what this is. It's art at the end of the day. But the big thing we want is to get people who aren't into crypto but might like art, because there's loads of people who love art who don't really want to get involved with coins or anything like that, but they probably enjoy owning NFTs that are as like a high quality one, the F-Men. I can imagine anyone who's not really a big crypto fan could still look at that and be like, wow, this is really funny, this is really well done. What would you say, or what do you say to people to get them into looking at crypto art?
Well, it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. So I think the beginning of the solution is you pretty much help these people. So it's like this. Here's my take on it. I don't think it is that people don't want to be involved with coins. I think that there's a bit of a knowledge barrier, and that's not something that your traditional art collector necessarily wants to cross. In terms of keeping track of prices, in terms of knowing what to buy when, in terms of being cognizant of gas prices, and when the network is more and less congested. And for somebody who's just getting into the space, it can be quite overwhelming from the start, right? Like as an established project, I know that we take so much effort to fine tune our expenditure on gas just by optimizing our mint timings, optimizing our distribution timings, optimizing our listing timings, and things like that. And it's not something that everyone is keen on getting into, but I know that as time goes by, more and more people will get in. There's just one uh, fundamental thing that I always wonder, that whenever people say that there should be a way for collectors to collect without crypto, and that's perfectly fine, but without even going through the stage of creating a crypto wallet, where are you going to store an NFT that's minted on the blockchain? So you gotta have it on MetaMask, right?
I agree with what you said about the artist not wanting to have to deal with like teaching everyone how to actually even buy his art in the first place. And it is the knowledge barrier that I think is going to be the hardest thing. So you made a good point there about it being on the, because you can get a lot of the gas fees can sort of create a problem, as you say, if you know when to optimize it. But sometimes people don't understand the gas, so they come and, like, we had some new people from Gala who wanted the comics, but they didn't really understand Rareable or why the gases are so expensive. And for someone who doesn't know what they're doing, it can look like the artist is just trying to take some wacky fees as well. So there's definitely a knowledge thing there. You're right.
Well, I have a comment here because I'm a programmer. That's my day job. And I see this area is evolving a lot. Basically, right now you have to, and I see this a lot like email was in the early 90s. Basically, right now, in order to get a comic or an NFT or something, you have to go to OpenSea. You have to get an account with OpenSea. You then have to make sure you have a MetaMask wallet. You have to connect that to a proper wallet. I'm not sure. I've never done it without making my own wallet, so I'm not sure how that works. But whatever the case is, you have to go through these very specific steps. You have to be specifically educated in order to get an NFT. I see it in the future literally as being, you guys will be hosting NFTs on your site or on a site that you make. You press a button and then bam, it'll go to your Coinbase NFT account, because Coinbase, I'm sure, will be hosting NFTs eventually or whatever. And the gas price will just be, it'll look like tax does on our current, if you were to, on our current way of buying things. If you were to go buy, some milk or some eggs or whatever, you're always paying some sort of tax. And I see the gas as being like that. And eventually, I'm sure that gas will be worked out through multiple layer 2 solutions like Polygon, for example. And, buy with Polygon, buy without Polygon. And then you just click and it goes. And I think we're getting there. It's going to take a while, but in the meantime, this is where people have a chance to build things up and make things better. So when that day comes, you'll be there, you'll be ready, you'll be the stuff that everybody wants to get.
Speaking of layer, go on, dude.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of layer 2s, there's quite a few platforms where you can bridge to now, which there's new communities that sort of stay on that chain that you can get the comics. Sort of, hey, would you like these comics? I'm not sure which layer 2s you would use yet, but as they're coming out, is that something you think you'll go for, multiple chained, or are you just going to stick to the common ones?
So as of now, to begin with, we're going to definitely branch into Polygon. But again, this chain diversion is something that we are going to let the community control, because I wouldn't move on a chain that people in my current community don't really care about. So whatever people decide, that's probably where we're going to shift. Like, I know for a fact that a lot of the NFT comics guys are not onto Hen, or they're not onto Tezos for that matter, or anything like that. So that's pretty much, there's an added layer of resistance that our community itself does not prefer. So it just comes down to whatever you guys prefer. Like, once the dust is settled and we can see the difference between Binance and Polygon and all those prominent chains, we'll try and figure it out from there. But Faz, it's really interesting that you mentioned this, because one of the things I'm actually with a few friends trying to work on myself is creating the system where you get onto our website and you log in with your email or your MetaMask wallet. So assuming you don't have a MetaMask wallet, you log in with your email, and we can open a fiat checkout for you, and then create a Ethereum address and link it to your email and send you the NFT there.
They do that pretty much with Wax right now. I say pretty much because they kind of create and manage a wallet for you, but it's this is already done in some way. But remember, this is all the stuff we're doing right now reminds me of back end work that I code on a daily basis. You know, we know all of our information is stored in databases around the world, but we never see those databases. We don't, you know. You go and you make a purchase, and then things automatically go in the database. It's going to benefit somebody else to ensure that these transactions are easier and easier. And those people are going to come along and they're going to say, hey, NFT Comics, if you pay us or just connect to us, then we will mint anything, your comic on any chain that anybody wants to. And it's just going to be a solution that's out there. I bet the coin, I bet the blockchain and coin and whatever already exists. You know, I'm thinking of something like Flare, for example, because Flare wants to be a layer 2 smart contract solution, and they've already picked Dogecoin, XRP, Stellar, and some others. This is going to happen with NFTs. Come on, if not already. I bet that it's already happening already.
Makes sense. So a fast, quick question for you. Any guesses, and Mal don't prompt, any guesses on what my day job is?
What?
Any guesses on what my day job might be?
Your day job. Well, you said you went to school as an engineer, and you're talking about working on solutions. No, you work in the blockchain industry?
Yeah, I am. So I'm actually working with this green tech startup based out of Hong Kong called Carbon Base. And with them, I work as a blockchain product and strategy guy. And with them, we are trying to create an NFT marketplace that can act as a direct source of funding for all these animal conservation projects out there. So we've currently partnered with the World Wildlife Fund, and you should definitely check it out. It's called Project Arc. And yeah, it's about bringing out the fact that you can use NFTs for good. So a little bit goes to the artist, a little bit goes towards maintaining the platform, and a major chunk of it goes to World Wildlife Fund so that you can conserve animals. And this is like we have these conversations all the time, and I'm glad that we're having it even now. But yeah, I'm really trying to get more efficient and more user-friendly blockchain solutions, because a lot of people who want to conserve and want to help save animals, they are not necessarily blockchain oriented. So for all you know, this reality might be closer than we think it is, and we could be having this conversation again very soon about how the people I'm working with, and Carbon Base and Project Arc in total, is trying to create blockchain solutions for doing more with NFTs and things like that.
Wow, you guys hiring? I might be interested.
See, I love that type of initiative as well. I'm just on the website now, actually having a look as soon as you typed it, and very smooth, very nice. So I see it's renting that looks after everyone. I'm on the right site. Yes.
I'll put this in the video also, or in the description, a link to Project Ark. It's Ark as in ARK. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Like Noah's Ark. Got it.
Yeah.
See, because one of the things I want to get into in maybe 2 years is property, you see, and I'm seeing manage multiple homes with a single dashboard. That's looking nice there. That's a good idea. See, it's these type of user-friendly interfaces and initiatives that are going to get people on the blockchain without knowing they're on the blockchain, I think. Like you can just send them an email with a code that they can redeem the NFT when they want it, but they've just paid with fiat.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So when I first got on the internet in the internet, which in like early 90s, like 94, 95, the only way you can get an email address is the only way I knew how to get an email address at the time was basically be at a college and, be going to a college, or my first official email address was at a library, a local library for the city I lived in. And you just had to prove you're a citizen. I think you had to give, show your driver's license or whatever. And then they give you a piece of paper and then you could use that as your account. And the email address was just horrid looking. It was because they had to accommodate everyone. But at first getting an email address was hard. And then using it was hard. There's no reason to use it. I would just use it to talk to other people, talk to friends, and so on. But it took a good 10 years. No, okay, maybe not 10 years. About 5 or 6 years. I think it was about 97 or 98 before I really started getting important things in email. Like, I don't know. Nowadays, you get everything in email. You get bills in email and so on. But I was really hoping at the time, it's like, boy, I just want to check my email box in the morning rather than look at my letters, because I lose letters that come in. They come into my house. I have a bill here. Where's the bill at now? Oh, I put it under something. Well, not so with emails. You can just search it. You have every email that you've ever been sent. In fact, that's a big problem these days. But the same thing is going to go with anything that you would buy online. You're just going to click on something, and as long as you have something associated, an account, a credit card, an email, or whatever, it's just going to go through. You're going to get, probably some partnership with an exchange. The exchange will be like, hey, we'll just take like 1% of the transaction or something, and then we'll hold the NFT comics for whoever wants it. So it's going to get that simple, in my opinion. It's where things are going.
Web3 it's here. If you look at unstoppable domains, for example, you can get, a .x, .crypto, whatever. They'd add an email to it. The Twitter handles have been added now. You can add your wallets to it.
What's this called? Web3?
Web3, yeah.
What is that?
Well, that's like your MetaMask. That's what technology it's using.
Yeah.
So you enable Web3 on your website, which would allow people to connect via MetaMask and stuff like that, like OpenSea and stuff. But
do you need to have a website to do that? Can you just associate an email address to an unstoppable domain that you get?
Well, that's what they're adding on. So basically, they explain it as you add .coms and .co.uk's, and then their technology can't really be altered, so they can't really add all cool things to them. So they've built the unstoppable domain, so you can reroute all your payments to them. My business website's on a .crypto. You can just use IPFS hosting, upload your website for free. It's hosted for free. But the point with it is they've already added the Twitter handles in, so if you were to just look that up, you can get all their information, their email address, all their wallets. Well, you wouldn't even need to look at the wallets. You just simply whatever you were sending to whatever .crypto or .x. But this is what I mean with the Web3, that they're going to use it for usernames as well. So your .crypto will be a login. So just by owning that in your wallet, you can just connect to MetaMask. MetaMask looks and go, he owns that wallet. He's that user. So in the future, it's going to be so slick. It'll be a simple case of you'll always be known as that's Mal. Anywhere I go, I don't need to log in because they can just see the NFT via Web3. So little fun lesson there. But as you're saying there, crypto dudes, having the website that literally allows someone to just come on, pay with fiat, not worry about the blockchain. He gets a little code that he can send to his Coinbase, or he can just redeem that when he's a bit more confident with a wallet. And
that's when things are really going to take off, because it's not easy to buy an NFT right now. You have to really get into it. And as soon as grandma gets involved in buying NFTs, then it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Well, this is when he said about Purple at age buying NFTs. I think that's a great sign that older people are getting into it.
That is.
It's really important.
Exactly. One of our most avid collectors is actually a grandmother. So that's just beautiful to see.
Yeah, and the fact that the older generation are appreciating what's going on, because I can imagine in the 90s, you know, people in the 60s and 70s probably weren't that bothered about the old internet and email thing and what's all this. And Web3 is being described now as about 1994. That's about where we're up to. Give it another 6 years, and it's just going to be absolutely everywhere, and everyone will be on it, whether they sort of know they are or not.
Well, it's important to remember, or it's important to recognize that the internet, I think, became what it did, well, in the United States anyway, because the United States caught on to what was going on in the mid-90s. About 96, 97, they started passing more laws, and I think 98 was the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And once that stuff went through, everybody started jumping in. And then, of course, it takes a while for everybody to build up, you know, really good stuff. But, you know, the regulation's going to matter. And until that happens, everything that we're doing now, I think, is going to be considered such early days. You know, the early days for the internet that I remember is using Gophers, for example. A Gopher was a server that was search server. It's a very badly put together search server, but it was, I mean, you'd rarely find what you were looking for. And I remember back in the day when we were using Gopher and you had to use arcane language to talk to it. I wished for something like Google. I'm like, can't you just make something that writes all this stuff? Well, some company has to get in there and do that. And the Gophers were put together by universities who are like, well, yeah, this is what you need to search the dang, you know, all the URLs that we're storing. But, you know, then companies like Google came along. I remember Alta Vista and, you know, Lycos and stuff. They came along and made it better. Google came in after everything was figured out, in my opinion, and then they just added to it and streamlined it and, you know, calmed all the chaos down. We're not even to that point where there's a Google. We're not close to that point where there's a Google for crypto yet.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This is interesting because I wasn't even born when all this was happening, right?
Let's see. Well,
I'm showing my age here.
Yeah, I was born 1990, but I remember 96 playing, like, I think Age of Empires came out in about 94, 95, and I was always a very young.
Yeah, totally not born.
Yeah.
I remember back in, well, I started learning about, or I first heard about the internet back in 1986, when the only way to get onto the internet was have a Quantum Link account. Quantum Link was later bought out or became America Online. So that was the only way you could do it. And I wished back in the late 80s that I could get an internet email address, but they were all arcane looking email addresses too. You know, the internet didn't really have anything of value other than you could get to the good information that was held by the universities and stuff. You know, it's like these computers are all connected together and they have some good stuff there. And that's all I really knew about it in the 80s. And the 90s is when, I think it was 93, when things really started changing, 92 and 93. I would bet that there's some laws that were passed at the time or some things that were opened up at the time. Mosaic came out in 93, I think, in CSA Mosaic. So it's when certain touch points happened, when certain technologies came out, then people started building on them. And even the NFT arena, that's going to standardize. I mean, the problem is actually that you have Tezos NFTs now and Ethereum NFTs, and there's going to be Cardano NFTs and NFTs for everything. BS. What's going to happen is there's going to be an NFT standard, and your blockchain is going to support that standard. And then you'll just have an NFT, and it won't matter where you put this NFT. And that's where the layer 2 solutions are going. They're trying to make that stuff happen. and they're all fighting to be the standard.
Well, whoever gets the standard first is going to be king. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's hope that it's an open standard and that it's not a proprietary one. And it's hopefully the crypto space is smart enough and decentralized enough to where we will insist on a decentralized standard or like an ISO standard. But if some company gets the standard, then they will effectively own the crypto, I don't know, NFT space. They'll effectively own it because everybody will want their product, and everything else will be a competing product. And the stuff that we have right now is going to be, well, that was before, I don't know, the Google NFT came out, and oh, you had an ETH NFT, yeah, how quaint, that's nice. Google NFTs, did you convert it to a Google NFT? Because I ain't going to touch it until you do.
Yeah, I hope that never happens because I love my 1155s. So
I mean,
that better be the standard.
if you guys ever wanna hunker down and make the standard, I'm game.
There's that time thing and time and money thing. Yeah, I would love to be able to get into it. Having a standard is one thing. That's the first step. The guy who made JavaScript, they did the first step, but the second step is getting it accepted everywhere. And that's where, partnerships with really rich people are going to matter, because they will be able to get multiple entities using that standard, and then they can effectively power that one through. And they're probably doing that right now. But
you've got to remember the bridging, though. If the bridging happens like it's supposed to, you should just be able to be on any chain that you want, regardless.
Yeah, the question is how that bridging is going to happen, and we don't know that yet.
I mean, they seem to be doing pretty well, but the problem is a lot of it's off-chain, and that's when the centralization comes in, and I'm just going to keep it at 1155.
Well, companies are trying, this off-chain business, companies are trying to pull things their direction to where they can privately manage parts of things or privately manage part of the crypto ecosystem. Because and banks obviously want to do that too they want to have their own coins, like JPM coin and stuff. If you can get something privately done, then you're setting a standard that, the crypto space is actually privately owned and not owned by everyone. So I think though that the crypto space has a lot of momentum though to keep things as open as possible, following kind of the internet's rules.
Yeah, I think the people won't I mean, people who use layer 2 for sure. Like, why wouldn't you use it, for example, for NFT Comics? Like, that's no problem. Save your customers gas and make their lives easy. But there's going to be that part of it where people just won't touch it, I think, for like certain things. Like, they won't do large transactions on it. They'd rather do it straight on a decentralized notion rather than trust, because they're just going to make a lot of money. That's why they want to be the first to do it, isn't it? So they can claim their portion and put a fee on it. This is mine, yo.
The reason I'm saying all that is I was 18 in 1990, and my job, that's when I started getting into the job arena, and all my jobs had kind of went through this fight with file formats. It's like, okay, I've got to get this file to your computer. What do you have? Well, I have a PC. Oh, I have a Mac. Well, yeah, you can't read my files. Okay, well, then how do I convert it? And converting was a problem. And so once that got figured out, and that's like 10 years down the line, once that all got figured out and you could have common file formats, then the information flows so much faster. But it was a battle. And the same thing with networks. You couldn't have a Mac on your PC network. Or when you did, they acted strange because they wouldn't support the whole thing. It's Macs would support PCs more than PCs would support Macs. There's a lot of network layer wars things are a whole lot more easier now, and they came up with standards to solve that.
Well, I didn't know half of that.
I know, I didn't know any of that.
File formats. If I came to work and I was working on a Mac and and I need to get a digital file to somebody else who had a PC, you usually could convert it on a Mac, but you couldn't convert it on a PC. PC was always like, Apple always had more money, and they would do they had richer people that would buy their stuff, and it was a higher quality stuff. So it's like, okay, could you put this? You got to go find a Mac somewhere to read this damn PC file, or a PC to convert it, there's a lot of conversions problems. And then people would offer services like, we'll convert your files for you, just buy our program. So then you could go back and forth, but only if you had this conversion program. And so, the day finally came when you could use a disk from one computer on another computer. And I forgot to mention, it wasn't just Mac and PC. There was Commodore Amiga. There was Atari, and there's a lot of PCs, or a lot of computers that were all fighting for the same stuff. So now everything's kind of standardized, but this is where we are in the crypto world.
Absolutely. Yeah, what he's saying is correct. I mean, I can totally see the same thing happening with, NFTs and even networks. Like you have the ERC20 network, then you have the BEP2, and it happens with me all the time when I need to send someone a certain token, and I have to just check, okay, fine, which network are you on? Like yeah,
yep.
I mean,
same old story.
Even when you want to send, like if you have Ethereum on MetaMask and you want to buy Polygon on Matic, it's not that straightforward, right? Like I've seen developers struggle with that. So yeah. I totally get what you're saying.
So it's going to take some time, and this is a great time to be alive if you're interested in crypto and NFTs. This is why I started the CryptoFaz Academy Discord, so we can explore these subjects. Really, it's just to stay on top of things. It's just my way of staying on top of things, because it's going to go so fast. And as long as you guys keep positioning yourselves to find out how to, work with the largest audience you can, I think you'll be fine. I really like where you're going with the types of cartoons you have, and how you're going to be splitting them up into pieces and the subscriptions. That sounds really cool.
There's just one thing I've always wondered, though, that I've seen a lot of successful NFT projects and NFT artists out there, and it's really great to see them, regularly putting out such high quality content. But there's just one thing that I've wondered, and that is, why do NFT projects not innovate in terms of technology? Like, what I mean is that, like, for example, one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create an NFT Comics contract where you can mint an NFT comic, and if it gets voted into existence, then you get the proceeds from it. It's just on our contract.
Wow.
Well, they're not those really good artists that are making those really good NFTs. They're not the people to be doing those kind of innovations. It actually sounds like you're more of the type, because you're in the NFT area and you're an engineer. You have the right mix of skills to do that. Those other artists, they're just putting the content out. That's what they're good at. They probably don't care about what they use, and they probably struggle to stay on top of the best way to get their stuff out. The good news for some of them is some of them are so popular they don't have to care. Other people will help them figure that out.
Yep.
Because
Chris, we're a good team, so we'll do it.
I was about to say, this is one of the things where I think your project will just be always amazing, because it's an amazing artist and then an amazing blockchain guy as well. Whereas most people just have the artist, or they've got like a guy that just does blockchain and he's trying to get art out there. Whereas you and Chris are like the perfect storm, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have insane amount of ideas. So as soon as a community member comes up to us, and this is another thing that we try to do as much as possible, and that is stay in personal touch with members from the community. So as soon as a community member comes up to us with a good enough idea, one of us starts working on it. Because I mean, there's only so much exposure that Chris and I even have. But if somebody says, hey, I've seen this other project doing this, and I think you guys should do something like that, we're game.
Well,
so
okay.
We're on.
Well, I have some good ideas that Mal has fed me some, and I have expounded on some of his ideas, and I have a few of my own. I'd like to talk to you offline about some ideas that I have that I'd be happy to put forth, a lot of work or funding for. And yes, they would involve my cartoons also. It would totally fit in the NFT Comics arena.
Lovely.
I,
Yeah,
I,
definitely.
I think that'd be great for everybody, for me, for you, and for the people who get to see my little dudes.
Yeah, perfect. I
And
love that.
the thing with comics is you can do what you want. It's your art. You can just be as creative as
Exactly.
you want. You can be.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to represent anything in crypto space. I mean, look at the new ones. I was going to ask you if you want to speak about the new ones, the blood and gore ones, because that first one I see, I was just like, wow. That was like I wasn't expecting it to be, a non-crypto based and like still be so like good.
Yeah, in
'Cause
fact, interesting story is that the very first NFT that we minted, the one where I forget the name, but it's the one where Bitcoin has grown a lot. So initially, like the token could get into a car, but now it's like he only gives his arm off.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so so the one that Chris made for that had a lot of blood and gore. Okay, like when he's ripping the arm off, there's like blood splatter everywhere. And when I saw it, I'm like, it's great, but do we really want to be starting with such a strong comic right off the bat?
I'd love to see that on on edited version.
Yeah, so that's something that we said. We said that okay, fine, we'll mint it someday, because that's one of the best ways to convince him. I was really having to convince him that there's a lot of blood in there, so we'll mint it someday. But for now, we went with, oh yeah, it's called Pizza with Bitcoin. That was the first one we ever minted, and one of the best ones that I like. It's really cool. It's to fill you in fast. It's a funny take on how earlier you could buy pizza with Bitcoin, and now all the many things that you can buy with Bitcoin. Like, it's a take on how much that token has grown, and it's funny, yet it's very accurate. So yeah, Mal, we might just mint it someday on
I'll be bidding on that one.
on some massive occasion.
About that buying things with Bitcoin, I was just reading something the other day where people were worried about kind of a cash. There not being enough cash in banks to convert your Bitcoin to cash, or banks might decide that they don't want to take your Bitcoin and convert it to cash, or they might not allow you to connect up with Coinbase or something like that. It's like, why do I care if I can buy things with Bitcoin straight out? Why do I need you, bank? And the banks are the more they fight back, the worse it's going to be for them, because you could buy so many more things with Bitcoin and hopefully with other cryptos soon.
Yeah,
Yep, definitely.
I spoke to a guy, and he basically, this was about a year and a half ago, when I was going to try and figure out a coding language that I was just going to throw myself into. And he basically told me that if you wanted to be clever and make some money, because the banks have refused to change their code since like it was first probably made in like the late 80s, most of the coders that can code in that are dying every year. That's how old they are. But the banks are still on the old legacy systems. So it just shows you how like reluctant they really are to improve their systems and standards.
So we actually have a hard stop, and it's not because of me, but it's because of StreamYard. I believe it's not going to let me do more than a 2-hour video. We're at an hour 43, and that's because I actually started about 20 minutes before you got on, Crypto Dude. Mal and I were talking. It'll be on the stream. I can send you a copy of the stream. You can hear us talking smack about you beforehand.
Love to hear that.
We were just having a usual shit talk, really. This stream has ended, hasn't it? By the way, did I just swear on me?
Well, I'll edit you out. Don't worry. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna edit this down. Take out the big pause or the big blank spot in the beginning, and just start with my beginning. I think we've been doing pretty well. I don't really see a lot of edits that I'll be making to this one. I like this format. We did more of a Q&A format before that was a bit stuffy, I think. And I like this. We just talk, and if it wanders into one of our questions we have, then we ask it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, you've been such a great guest.
Oh, so sweet.
Well, yeah, it helps if the guests are good natured and joking around all the time too.
And plus, you're
Yeah, I mean, that's how. I mean, there's another good quality about Chris. His meme game is really really strong. Like, I don't know if Mala has noticed on the Discord server, because he very rarely graces it with his meme skills, but his meme game is really strong. So yeah, it's always fun in games with us.
Maybe Mal, we just got to interview more people that do more fun stuff like NFT Comics.
I think that's what it is. I mean, I absolutely love Crypto Dude's energy. It's what you want in a guest. Plus, obviously, I'm a good friend of his, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we had another really good podcast where we interviewed the meme coin Aqua Goat, and we were just laughing and having fun the whole time. So that was another good one because we were having a lot of fun, and I think we just got to interview people that we just have fun with.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd love to I don't know, co-feature with you guys someday. Like, that's also another fun thing we can check out.
Well, we'll get you back on as well. I'd have you on bloody every 3 months and see what you're doing.
Co-feature? You mean like have NFT Comics going to school at CryptoFaz Academy?
What I meant is like how you guys are doing the podcast. We could have it like a few more people. So you, Mal, myself, like get another person who's the guest, and just pull us like a little bit, have a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I said I wanted to start doing more like just fun ones that aren't even really interviews. You just discussing, like we were having we went off NFTs and just went into how the governments and banks are. That's educational for some people, and it breaks up the whole. Like, some people might just want to tune in and listen to Crypto Dudes, talking about, because he's so good at talking about ARC or.
Yeah, I gotta tag these too. I gotta start putting little tags in various sections, which I don't know how to do on YouTube yet.
That's what I mean, but I agree, dude. It'd be nice to just have you on and another person and just have a nice chinwag, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. In fact, speaking of collaborations, there's one more that we've lined up. It's with this brand that I'm very closely, like, those guys are my really good friends, and I even help them out a little bit. It's called Decent Life. And what they are doing is they are making physical apparels that are NFT authenticated. So as things go on, we're going to have an NFT comic that has a poster, it has a watch, it has a hoodie, and it has a few t-shirts. And your NFT is actually linked to that.
Oh, that's nice. VeChain actually has one called Real NFT. Well, there's a company called
Real Items.
NFT. Real Items, yes.
Oh, yeah, I've met those guys. Amazing people.
Oh, great.
Well, if those other guys are your friends doing the Decentral Life, just tell them, like, we'd happily get them on so they can tell us all about it. And
oh, lovely. Yeah, do that.
Because we're happy to have as many guests on as we can, really, doing projects in the space.
One way that I could start moving from podcast to more video oriented is if we had some animations to show on this podcast.
I'd love to see an animated you and Titan arguing with each other.
Well, no, I had meant for anybody that we'd be dealing with. I don't have the time to do that right now, but I wonder if we could work out a deal to get some animations for this. Right now, I'm putting together this little overlay, but it'd be nice to do something more with this.
Definitely.
I went on Fiverr.
Apart from the others.
Yeah, because I think Chris would either probably be too busy to be doing small.
Oh, I think that there need to be more people involved. I think you guys probably need a lot more people to get involved besides just Chris, don't you? Or do you plan to just have Chris do all the animation?
As of now, he loves what he's doing, but depending on how his work catches up, because he has a day job as well, we'll definitely explore getting more people in.
Because I could see you guys getting so popular that Chris will have to start laying down templates and standards, and this is how you draw the person, and this is the way that you do things. I mean, they do this with cartoons. They have rules for cartoons and ways that you draw them.
I'd love to see just to see more money coming to your project. I tried to get there was like a Discord for like blowing projects up, basically getting people to just dump money in it. And I spent so many days in there trying to explain to people that they were just stupid for not listening to me, because they were just they were dumping like 30F. I think they dumped on like the worst NFTs I had ever seen in my life, and I was just like, I've been sat here preaching NFT comics for days and days. Everyone loves the comics. Everyone agreed they were the best quality NFTs, and then they just go and buy some dumbass ones.
Oh, dude, that's actually fine. Like we're more than happy with so we're more than happy with slow and organic growth, and the entire idea behind this was to try and incentivize and reward the early guys who got in. Like, I mean, people who bought the very first series, like the 4 people who bought it, those guys have a huge paycheck coming their way going forward. So I guess it's just about getting a community that enjoys the comics, likes it, and believes in us. And all these guys are going to be rewarded very, very soon down the line, because I mean, there's so much that we're working on in terms of metaverse things we can do, in terms of collaborations we can do. So we're just maybe one big collaboration or one new technology breakthrough or one product release away from blowing up. And the way I look at it, the more time it takes or the more people get a chance to buy our NFTs now, the more these guys are going to benefit, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So
yeah, I absolutely. I know for a fact that Old Season City is going to be such a rare and popular one. It's just, it relates to so many people who are in this space, and we're probably talking about 2-3 years in the future when there's people have got all the money from the holding the crypto and stuff like that. So when I can see a lot of crypto art really becoming big, then because
exactly, that's also the reason why we are so avid about burning our unsold content. So Chris and I just keep one of each, and we just burn the entire unsold because we want it to be community owned, community held. Like, we are all about that.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of metaverses, I should have really brought this up earlier. Like, because we're looking for a nice plot in Decentraland for my business, because we want to put our art NFTs on show. And I've told you personally that there'll be a whole section just for the comics. Probably not on sale either. I don't really want to sell them, to be honest. I think they're like treasures to me. Plus, I really enjoy them. But I think it'd be metaverses will be a massive one for your project.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, so
right,
it's been great.
So, like I said, we're running up against a hard limit here. So
that's okay. This has been absolutely fun. I think we can wrap it up sometime. So no worries.
Can we interview you again? I would love to be able to talk to you again, because I had a lot more questions that we won't have time to get to.
Sure. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, anytime.
Great.
And not just interview. You can get in touch with me anytime. Like, we should hang out and we should discuss. I mean, this was really fun.
You're going to come on hang out here in the Pacific Northwest with me? Great. That's.
I mean, the best I can do is make it in your time zone.
What time is it over there right now? It's 11:38 a.m. here.
It's 12:10.
Noon?
A.M.
12:10 a.m.
Yeah, it's nighttime there.
Nighttime. So we're actually 11 and a half hours, or I am, not we.
Oh yeah, I know.
And what time is it for you, Mal?
It's 20 to 8 for me in the afternoon.
So
like working on the whole gala thing, I've got very used to Mal's time.
Yeah, he knows my time better than I do, actually. He just tells me what time it'll be for me, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, because like, there were days when we had to be like, did so and so retweet, or was it shared on this channel? Let me ask Mal. Okay, so many hours until he wakes up. And then there are days when I'm like, messaging him like, hey, it's 11 a.m. your time. Why aren't you awake yet?
That's because he stays up to like 4 a.m. talking to me.
Yeah, I've got a bad sleeping pattern.
But anyway, let me end this, and we'll talk a little bit after.
Yeah, definitely.